me tell you about a friend. It's Craig LeBlanc where the good times never end. Talking Parks and Rec, it's a show you gotta know. Welcome one and all to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. It's the Daily Parks and Rec Show.
For me, it was extremely rewarding. I was that coach that on the soccer field, when a kid would score, I would be sprinting down the field to give him a high five, and they'd be jumping up at me all excited. It's a very, very rewarding to teach a child something and then see them implement that, or see them gain confidence and want to go do more of it. Don't be afraid to take that leap and try it. I would say it's rewarding, and it's not as hard as people think.
Welcome to the Daily Parks and Rec Show, Leadership Series. We're here to elevate and honor the professionals who lead the parks that shape our communities. Today, we're excited to feature Brad McAlear with the National Academy of Athletics. Brad partners with Parks and Recreation departments to manage and enhance youth sports programs. His organization takes the heavy lifting off Parks and Rec teams, handling everything from league management and summer camps to providing certified coaches. Join us as Brad shares how he helps strengthen communities through vital youth sports initiatives. Let's jump in. All right, we are live again with the Daily Parks and Rec Show. This is Craig LeBlanc Leadership Series. Have a special guest, Brad. Okay, I don't want to butcher it. McAlear. That was my guess, but you never know.
It's
Brad
right.
McAlear up in Detroit, Michigan, right?
Yeah, north of Detroit, about 45 minutes north of Detroit. But yeah, we'll claim Detroit.
Yeah. Well, so today we have a special show because for those of you that might be looking for entrepreneurial ways to work inside youth sports or the Parks and Rec industry, but you still want to kind of maintain a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Autonomy, and maybe determine your destiny a little bit more because you kind of work for yourself, but you still love youth sports. And so, well, we have got a way. And you can work with Aaron Locks with the National Academy of Athletics, and Brad is one of their kind of rising stars in this world. But first, let's go ahead and play our little promo for new people listening to the show for the first time. You can kind of understand what we're trying to accomplish with the Daily Parks and Rec Show and DPRS Media Company, and then we'll come right back with Brad. Welcome to DPRS Media Co., the first media company built for the people behind the Parks and Rec community. We don't just cover on Parks and Rec, we elevate it, we amplify it, we honor it. At the heart of everything we do is one mission: to serve the public servants, the professionals who design, maintain, and lead the parks that shape our communities. Under the Daily Parks and Rec Show, we produce 6 powerful platforms. Leadership in Parks and Rec, a spotlight on directors, superintendents, and visionaries shaping the future of public spaces. Facility maintenance, where the boots hit the ground, a deep dive into the systems, crews, and craftsmanship that keep our parks clean, safe, and beautiful. Young Professionals Network, shining a light on the next generation of Parks and Rec. Students, interns, and mentors sharing how we build a legacy together. Youth Sports Mastery, sponsored by National Academy of Athletics. This series is for coaches, parents, and rec leaders working to make youth sports fun, fair, and meaningful again. The Rec Room, hosted by the passionate leaders of Henry County Parks and Rec. This show brings frontline energy and real-life stories from the field. And the weekly Parks and Rec Post, our official newsletter delivering stories, insights, and community wins every week. We are DPRS Media Co., LLC, a media company with a mission to uplift the professionals who serve every community, every park, every day. All right, so that's what we're all about here at the Daily Parks and Rec Show. But let's get into, Brad, I kind of wanted to understand or maybe help explain your background, what you did right out of college. You said you were a business major, so that people kind of understand your journey. Maybe they can see themselves in you, and that way they say, well, hey, if Brad can do it, maybe I can do it. So maybe describe who you were. Where was your head when you were in college? And then we can kind of go through that journey of what got you to today.
Well, ironically, when I first started my journey in college, my head was in sports. I was going to go into sports marketing and management and try and do something in that avenue. But the college that I went to did not have that program. So went to business management and decided, you know, find something that I always thought I could lead people. I always thought, I'd be good at management. So went to school for that. Right out of college, I got a great job working in the convenience store industry on the management side. Spent 17 years there, working up through operations, real estate and construction, and then a long time in corporate security and loss prevention. So
Hmm.
it was fun, but it was stressful too. We're dealing with employees that are stealing and dealing with fraud and all that kind of stuff. So took a step back from that and got into marketing, trying to do something different and see where that would take me. And there was still something missing. So
Now,
I looked.
what did you do for marketing? How long did you do marketing for? And like, what was that day to day like?
Uh, excuse me. So I did social media marketing, but I was
Mhm.
more on the business operations side of that. So kind of fell with my career before that. But I
Mhm.
got a good taste of, the actual marketing side of it and what they would do. And like I said, it was fun, but I was working from home. I was stuck in my basement. I wasn't outside, and I
Oh,
wanted
it
to
was
do
a
something
remote job.
yeah, a remote work job. So I wanted to do something where I could get outside and be active and not, Michigan, we have cold winters, but we have nice summers, and it's
Yeah.
not fun to be stuck inside at that. So um, I just started looking what else is out there, and I kept thinking back to, as I mentioned, when I first started looking at college, I wanted to do something in sports. I do have 3 young children, so I spend a lot of time coaching them as a parent volunteer
Hmm.
coach, and
How old are they?
they are 8, 6, and 4, almost 9, 7, and 5. So
Man, that's some good
yeah,
ages.
yeah,
That's fun.
we're stuck in this situation of in September and October, every 2 weeks we have a birthday. We didn't
Yep.
plan too well on that, but yeah, so we're almost to that 9, 7, and 5 range. But yeah, it's great ages, absolutely. But like I say, I spent a lot of time coaching them, and not just my own kids, but all the kids that I coached.
Mhm.
It was so much fun, watching them learn something, watching them be excited when they scored a goal or
Now,
you
what
know,
sports are you coaching in, or were you coaching in back then?
I was coaching in soccer, baseball, basketball, and then my oldest we put into flag football for a
Mhm.
year, but he was like 6. It was too young.
Did you
Um,
play any and all of those sports?
I played soccer, basketball, football, and baseball growing
Mm,
up. But once I got to high school level, it was football and basketball were my
mhm.
two loves. So
Yeah.
basketball was always my favorite, but I have the body of a football player, so yeah,
Yeah.
I was out there, doing that as well.
Yeah, I know what that's like. I coached, cross country for 5 years, and I do not have the body of a long distance runner. Uh, I still ran the 3 miles for practice with him, but I was not, lighting it up
Oh
by
yeah,
any
oh yeah.
um, so what is it like? Maybe we can, give a little testimony to parents that are kinda on the ledge of volunteering to coach. So what's it like, coaching, and then volunteering to coach and that kind of stuff, just so that we can kind of help maybe encourage parents to volunteer to coach.
For me, it was extremely rewarding. I was that coach that on the soccer field, when the kid would score, I would be sprinting down the field to give him a high five, and
Mhm.
they'd be jumping up at me, all excited. So it's a very, very rewarding to teach a child something and then see them implement that or see them gain confidence and want to go do more of it. It's not, depending on the age level, it's not hard. If you're starting out with 4, 5, 6 year olds, it's teaching them, running around. If it's soccer, just kick the ball, see how far you can kick the ball.
Mhm.
Obviously, as you get older, it's going to get more difficult on the skills you're teaching them and things. But don't be afraid to take that leap and try it. A lot of people are scared that other parents are going to complain. about my coaching style, or they're going to complain because I'm not playing their kid. When we're talking Parks and Rec, that stuff doesn't happen.
Mhm.
All the kids get to play. All the kids just want to be out there playing. So
Mhm.
I would say it's rewarding, and it's not as hard as people think.
Yeah. Now, well, let's go ahead and continue with your journey into the National Academy of Athletics, because then I want to go into what it is that y'all teach and the framework that he gives y'all.
Yes. So, like I said, I was happy, but I wasn't extremely happy. I wasn't fulfilled, I would say. So, like I said, I started looking at what else is out there. What can I do to get back to sports, to get back to that? And I'll tell you, I looked at probably every single youth sports franchise that is out there, whether it was one sport that they offered, or like us, we offer 13, 14 different sports. Um, and that's one thing I will say for anybody who's out there looking at it: do your homework, do your research, make sure you find the right one. Obviously, I'm going to say National Academy of Athletics is the right one. But,
Right.
So I really dug deep for a long time looking into it, talking to these companies and really asking a lot of questions. And when I found Aaron Locks and National Academy of Athletics, every answer I got was what I wanted to hear.
Mm.
The people there are amazing. He's built a really great management team. So the further I got along, the further I was like, this is the one. This is the one I need to be with. Went out to California for what we call Discovery Day to meet him and his team. And I remember I got back to the hotel the first night. I called my wife and I said, I'm signing. This is where I need to be. This is who I need to be with. And let's see, in June. So we're about a month over it being 1 year since I signed.
Mm-hmm.
And he and his team have exceeded everything that I thought I was going to get, but by far exceeded it. So
now, what's some of those boxes you were looking to check off that you did homework? What are some of the things you saw in other organizations that you were like, well, I kind of wanted it to be more like this, or kind of what were you looking for back then?
I was looking for what kind of support are you going to get from the home office or the top of the company? What kind of success rates do they have? How many franchisees do they have? And of those, that number of franchisees, how many are still going? How many have left or haven't made it? Because you could tell me, oh, we've got 1,000 franchisees, but if 900 of them aren't doing well or are failing, it doesn't matter how many you have. And also just transparency. A couple of them I looked at, they not flat out lied to me or anything like that, but it just kind of felt like they weren't being fully transparent or weren't really telling the real story.
Yeah.
So those are the big ones.
How so? As far as like, what were they? Why is transparency important? I guess when it comes to this, like, they were just saying you'll be able to do this, and you're like, oh, there's really no way I can do that. Or,
well, obviously, I'm not going to say the one it was, but I asked.
Yeah, you don't have to name names. I'm just trying to.
I asked the question of how many franchisees have backed out, failed, tried to sell. And their answer was, well, generally in the franchise world, it's the 80-20 rule. 80% will succeed, 20 will fail. And I'm like, I'm not looking for the general rule. I want to know about your company.
The numbers, the real numbers.
Yes. So just that's why I said I don't think they were blatantly trying to lie, but it just kind of felt like they're hiding something.
Yeah. And so Aaron's able to give you all those numbers. And then I've actually met a lot with his team and stuff. Sorry, my computer's getting ready to go dead. So I have to plug it up real quick, but I'm good. He really does have an amazing team. And that's why we connected early on. And I was like, hey, I want to partner with you to maybe do something special on youth sports, since you're really dedicated 40 years of your life to it and stuff. And so same thing with me. When I met the team, I was like, yeah, I want to help. I want to partner with him because he's definitely passionate about it. And you see that the second you meet him and his team.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. And
so what would
I was just to say, he's not only a great mentor, a great leader. He and I have become good friends. I've called him a couple times and said, for personal reasons outside of the work, and just said, hey, I need to talk. I need some of that patented Aaron Locks positivity. And
yeah,
he's there whenever you need him. He's an amazing person.
Yeah. Yeah, he really is throwing everything he's got into it. And so maybe describe a little bit about that. So once you signed in, or maybe what was the process? So you found them online, you found a few others online, you did all the research you could do through an online search. And so now what does that first phone call look like? And then we can go into did he come see you, or he flew you out there, or what was the next stage step after that?
So the first phone call is just how I think they call it a discovery phone call, but it's just
Mhm.
talking. They give you information, you give them information about yourself, why you're looking into it, what you're looking to do, with the programs and all of that. And then after that, you get a phone call with Aaron himself, and he can read people, he knows people, so he'll
Mhm.
get his initial reaction and decide, yes, we need to go further with this person, or we need to ask a few more questions and that type of thing. So after that, you get what they call the FDD, or the franchise disclosure document. It's like, gosh, like 200 pages long, but
Yeah.
they give you plenty of time to dissect that, read through that, and really learn everything you need to learn about making this decision. And then once you're comfortable enough that you want to move forward, you do go out to California for Discovery Day. They You meet with Aaron, his whole team. You go out and see some of the corporate run programs or classes that are going on. Meet with some of
Mhm.
the area captains out there that have been with him for a while, and just really get a good feel of seeing it live in person. Uh,
Mm.
and then it's take that time to you know digest what you've learned and decide if you want to sign. And like I said, for me, it was first night in the hotel, I knew I was
Yeah.
signing. um, and
So
then
what
once
did you see on that? Like when you see his team in action at the corporate run level, what did that day look like? What is he exposing you to or bringing you to?
So I went out to see a PE class. So they run a lot of PE classes out in California because the schools no longer have the teachers.
Mhm.
We don't have that situation here in Michigan yet, but went and saw PE class, went and saw after school programs. Um, so that was because of the time of the year that I was there. It was more of the school related stuff. But Aaron doesn't go with you, or at least for me, he didn't go with me. I went off with
Mhm.
Ben, one of his, really accomplished area captains. So
Mhm.
you get to, talk to Ben without Aaron being around and see his true feelings, or his, what he really thinks about everything. And then
Mhm.
I met with John Martignoli, sorry. And sorry, John, if I just butchered that, but I met with John, who was franchisee number one. Um, so really got to pick his brain, and see why he signed, what he's been through, and all of that stuff. And again, met his team, talked to them. You get to talk to Michael Stone, who's the operations side of the stuff. So you really just get a good exposure to every aspect of the company and what
Mhm.
they're going to provide. And, and for me, saying that first day I was ready to sign, I didn't meet a person I wasn't super comfortable with. I felt like I was already a part of the team, a part of the family
Mhm.
right away. We went out to dinner that first night with, I think there was like four of us there, and the conversation was amazing. Our views and everything just lined up perfectly. So it was
Mhm.
more of just that gut feeling for me that this is who I need to be with, and this is the people that I need to
Yeah.
move forward and
Yeah.
build
And
my.
I know it's kinda hard sometimes to put into words that gut feeling that you have when you're just around, certain people, but is there anything you can say? Was it like the culture? Was it their coaching style, or, how they taught skills versus it being all about, winning a championship? Or can you say anything about, what you saw that really helped confirm that you were at the right place?
I'll say it was the culture, along with, like you said, how they taught things. So we're not out here trying to build the next superstar athlete.
Mhm.
The players that play collegiately, you're talking about 1%. You want to talk about professionally, we're talking about less than 1%.
Mhm.
So it's more of, let's get kids active, let's get kids out playing, let them learn, play everything, expose them to everything, so they can decide, this is the sport I like, and this is what I
Mhm.
want to move forward with. So I mean, I would say that probably all wraps up into the culture, but if you want to separate it, yeah, not only the culture Aaron's built with his team, but the way that they and we now run classes, run programs, and teach kids about sports was exactly what I was looking for.
Yeah, yeah. Now, did they give you any of the history of where that came from? I know it probably just all came from Aaron's experience himself personally coaching and stuff, but I didn't
Uh,
know if they were like, "Here's the history of the company," or
oh,
something like
they absolutely do, and that also is what sold me on it. So, Aaron, when he was young, I believe right out of college, he started working for John Wooden at UCLA. Two of my, as I mentioned at the beginning, basketball is my favorite sport, and two of
Mhm.
my, you know, all-time favorite coaches are Mike Krzyzewski from Duke and John Wooden. So that
Okay, so
immediately,
for those who don't know who John Wooden is, can you kind of just 'cause, you can just gloss past that name
yeah,
and think it's any old person, but maybe for the audience that's not familiar with him.
I John Wooden is probably the greatest coach of anything ever,
Mm,
arguably, obviously. But he was a coach at UCLA. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Walton, guys like that went through and played for him. Just unbelievable coach and student of the game, and the way that he taught and the way that he coached his players. Um, it's probably second to none. But yeah,
mhm.
if you don't know who John Wooden is, just look him up and you'll see some amazing things about him.
Yeah.
For me, obviously, I wasn't old enough. I'm in my 40s, but I wasn't old enough to really watch him. So for me,
Mhm.
it was Mike Krzyzewski at Duke, and he was probably, if you know who Coach K is, John Wooden was Coach K before his time.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, that's good to know, and that's actually, kinda in Aaron's formative years, where he learned a lot of what he teaches, and I
Yeah,
think a lot of that is, plowed into the culture and the style and techniques that you see in the National Academy of Athletics, and that's kinda what you get fed day to day, so, alright, so you pulled the trigger, you're like, "I'm in, now what?" Sign
yes, yes,
sign the paperwork, now the work begins,
yeah. So you go through a training program, and it's like 6 weeks, but if you really pushed it, you can get it done faster than that. But
mhm,
there's a lot of online training, but then you meet individually, usually through Zoom for me because wasn't in California, but meet with Larry and Mike and other members of Aaron's team to kind of really get a good grasp of the programs they provide for us, the technology side they provide, and all of that good stuff. So once you get through that training program, or near the end of it, Aaron comes out, spends a few days with you, to really get out. And it's not just, hey, we're going to go sit in an office or a Starbucks somewhere and talk. No, we're going to go out and we're going to meet with community partners. We're going to meet with schools, and he really tries to give that roadmap and show you, how to have those conversations, how to, present what we do to them, and then it's just hit the ground running and try and get programs going. I will say the way we do it with partnering with Parks and Recs and partnering with schools, we're working 3 to 6 months out right now.
mhm,
So I've already finalized my fall programs. I'm starting to look in winter programs. So when you do start, it's less likely than not you're not going to run a program right away.
mhm,
So it's really getting your feet wet with that training and going through it with Aaron and really prepping and getting ready to run a program a few
yeah.
months after you sign.
Now, when you started, so you go back home, you're in Michigan, away from Aaron and his team, he's over in California. What was your first steps into, or did you already have some people you had kind of spoken to? Were you already friends with maybe your kids' schools or your local Parks and Rec?
So my local park and rec that I was a parent volunteer for, I reached out to them, uh,
Mhm,
and they knew me from coaching and basically said, absolutely, yeah, come on in, we'll talk about it, we'll see. And then my next one was I went to the school district that I went
mhm,
to. So I don't still live where I grew up, but I'm like 25 minutes away. So
yeah,
I went to that school district and said, I'm an alumni. This district gave me so much going through school. I want to give back, and they loved that idea.
mhm,
And then from those two, it was just let's get out and talk to as many as we can.
Yeah.
I've had word spread. One called me and said, "Hey, I've heard about you. I want to bring your programs over here." So it is. You can't sit behind a computer and email. You can't sit behind a
Yeah.
phone and call. You got to get out, go meet these people face to face.
Yeah.
Because we're not the only player in town that offers youth sports, but
Mhm.
let's find out what sports are not offered in that area, what maybe is offered, but they're not doing everything right, and let's fill those gaps and become that
Right.
true partner. And we don't like to say we're contractors. We're partners with
Yeah.
Parks and Rec or the school district or whoever it is. But yeah, we're true partners. We're going to share in the marketing. We're going to share in pushing things out. We're going to email to the parents in those areas, and we're not just going to leave it up to them to fill our classes.
Yeah.
Really, we want to do everything and take it away from them. Whatever they can do to help is obviously
Right.
very much appreciated and a bonus, but we want to show them that we're gonna take charge, we're gonna lead, and we're gonna fill
Yeah.
these classes.
Now, what is that first phone call? So imagine you've got a kind of a referral of local park and rec director. What's your 30-second, 60-second to get them in-person meeting look like?
Um, Really, just I don't want to give them too much too fast and
Mhm.
have them be like, "Oh my gosh, this guy's crazy. What is he coming at me with?" So it's
Right.
just basically saying, "Hey, I know you've got others that you work with, but can we just sit down, meet for a half hour, and let me
Mhm.
really show you the benefits of what we can bring?" Which
Yeah.
one of the biggest benefits is our coaches. I know we talked about parent volunteer coaches, and very admirable. I love the parent volunteer who gets out there and coaches. But for us, we provide the coaches. They're certified, they're trained, and they want to be there. They want to give back and work with
Mhm.
kids. So that's a big advantage for us. And a lot of times when I say that, or talk about that, the park and rec director is like, "Yeah, come on in. Let's talk about this. Let's see what we can
Yeah.
do."
Yeah, because that's a lot less headache. Because I mean, what are the exact services y'all provide? Because right now, the Parks and Rec department are in charge of everything, 100%. Not only do they maintain the fields, which is the whole facilities maintenance side, but they're also putting the programming together, putting the tournaments together, training the coaches, working with the parent volunteers. Like, it's just all theirs. And
Yeah.
so, what is the layer that y'all take away from them? Or maybe what are the different types of layers? I know there's like an all in, do it all. We don't want to do anything but keep the grass cut and stuff like that. And then so maybe like what's the smallest thing y'all would do? And then what's like the max gold package that a parks department would give y'all?
So the smallest thing that I've done is I've run a preseason clinic for baseball leagues and soccer
Mhm.
leagues. It's 1 hour, hour and a half. I'm sorry, those are typically the hour and a half. But I'll run a clinic to get their players ready, get them, so that first day when they get out there, they're ready to go and don't lose any time on that. Um, which I think from my own kids playing in Parks and Rec, as a parent, not as a franchisee for National Canada Athletics, I think is an awesome thing because I've seen those first couple games are a lot slower than the last 4 or 5 games. And when you only have 6 to 8 games in a season, it really helps for them to hit the ground running. So that'd be kind of the smallest thing we would do. The gold packages, we'll take over everything, the full management of everything. Just give us the field, give us a place to
Yeah.
have our sport, the gym, the field, whatever. But we'll run leagues, full management of leagues, full management of summer camps and things like that. Um, all the way from we'll do the marketing, we'll email the pre camp, post camp, mid camp emails. If we have to change a day because of rain or something like that, we'll contact the parents. They don't have to do any of that.
Mhm.
And that's a big thing that has sold some of my community partners is they're like, wait a minute, you want to take all this work on? I'm like, yeah, I want to take work away from you because we
Yeah.
know in Parks and Rec they're overworked and understaffed, and so what the work we can take away really makes a benefit or an impact to them.
Yeah. Yeah, I really feel like youth sports is really the icing on the cake when it comes to Parks and Rec. Like, after you've done everything right of, taking out bonds, master plans, talking to all your elected officials, building the facilities, project management, deferred maintenance, cutting the fields,
Yeah.
irrigation. when all that runs perfectly, now you can do sports.
Yes. Yes.
And
I
then
mean,
you've got
even
special events and urban forestry and everything else that you're doing. It's just like that's the result of all these other things going right. Now we can do some youth sports.
yes, I would say we have a camp running right now. And yesterday the skies opened up, started pouring down rain, so they have a building we can move inside. And I'm talking to Mike and my contact over there, and he's like, "Well, let me know when you're done. I'll come and broom, or sweep up the floor and mop the floor." And I said, "Mike, just tell me where the broom is. I'll handle that." And he's like, "Wait, you will?" Like, so I guess that kind of goes in line with the gold package too. We'll take care of everything.
Yeah.
And like I said, anything they can do is bonus. Obviously, they've got their guidebooks, so they're going to produce those and put our programs in there, and
Mhm.
they put things out on Facebook and stuff like that. But again, we would rather be that gold standard partner rather than them calling us a contract or
Yeah.
a contractor, and
Yeah.
so yeah,
'Cause, I mean,
anything and everything.
at the end of the day, the end goal is to just serve the community, get the kids in to learn those skills, those life lessons that you typically can only learn in a sports environment, coaching environment. And so, if you're helping them get that job done so that they can do all the other things they have to do, I think it's a win-win.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Um, Okay, we're going to go ahead and take a short break to promote our next show, which is the infamous Aaron Locke's show, Youth Sports Mastery, every Thursday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. So he's got a special guest for us today. You can catch this show every Thursday. Here's a quick promo for it, and then we'll come back and finish our conversation with Brad.
At DPRS Media Co., we don't just create content, we elevate community through storytelling. Now, we're proud to introduce the newest addition to the family. Welcome to Youth Sports Mastery, the podcast where champions are shaped, not just on the field, but in life. Hosted by National Academy of Athletics founder Aaron Locks. Youth Sports Mastery dives deep into how youth sports can empower kids, strengthen communities, and build leaders. From coaching culture to recreation strategy, and from player development to parent impact, every episode brings game-ready insight from the people making it happen. Youth Sports Mastery goes live every Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Only on the Daily Parks and Rec Show, sponsored by National Academy of Athletics and powered by DPRS Media Co. This is where purpose meets play.
All right, so stay tuned for that show coming in just a couple hours, I think. Actually, I think 30 minutes after the end of this show. But let's talk about. So you got your first win. It was your local Parks and Rec that you had kind of worked with before. And so, what did that look like for the first? And I know you've only been doing this for a year, but so you started communicating with the parents. You scheduled. What were the sports that you did? And maybe bring us through that first season.
Yeah, so we started out with some non-traditional sports, and it actually didn't go as planned. But we threw out, because they did offer a lot. So we threw out dodgeball, rugby, cheer and dance, and lacrosse. And I thought, I've got it. I'm going to fill these classes. Everything's going to be great. We're going to run them, and it didn't happen. We didn't run all of them. So it gave me the ability to kind of take a step back and say, okay, why did that happen? What are the reasons I think it happened? And I came up with those. I had a long list. So we came back the next season, reevaluated, and brought in soccer. So now it was indoor soccer. So, cold winters in Michigan, but we were in a gym because I can't get access to a turf field in the winter here because all the travel soccer teams take them. So we were in a gym. We went really, really well. We did a program that we call RSVP, which stands for Run Speed Vertical Power. It's kind of a kids fitness training for all sports. And that went really well as also. So you know, I always look back at that first round, and I don't want to call it a failure, but a hiccup, you know, a roadblock to
Yeah.
get by. And I feel like that really set me on the right path to where I am a year later, because it was, you know, it made me really evaluate and figure out, you know, what needed to be changed, what needed to be done differently. And now we're coming back with those same programs here in the winter. We've added flag football in that community in the fall,
Mhm.
and summer camps have been going strong for that community as well. So I feel like it was, in the long run, it was a win, but early on,
There's always a bumpy start.
it was a bumpy start. Yes, yes. So, and then the other one that I mentioned earlier was the school district I grew up in. We
Mhm.
put after school volleyball programs in, and that one just took off. I had 25 kids in one of them, 20 in the other, at two different elementary schools. And the parents were asking me, you know, why isn't it going longer? Why don't you just go right up till the end of the school year? So,
Yeah.
you know, this year we're coming back and we're doing that. We're going to run it all school year. We're adding an all sports program as well all school year. So it is something that, you know, every area is different. You're going to have to learn what
Mhm.
sports need to be in this area, what sports don't need to be in this area, or not don't need to, but aren't going to work as well. Um, and then kind of get a feel of how long the program should run and how often and that type of thing. But yeah, it's definitely a fun journey. I will say that.
Yeah. And so for those listening, essentially, if you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to run a franchise, just like any other franchise, but you want it to be in what? You want to be in fast food, you want to be in new sports, want to be in some apparel shop or whatever. This is a way that you can kind of scratch both itches. You can still be an entrepreneur, still work with youth sports, still kind of have that autonomy and control your own destiny, but not doing it completely alone, blind. You've actually got a team of people that are doing this across the country with you so that y'all are all kind of strong in numbers. And then, Aaron provides, well, maybe talk a little about what does Aaron provide? You had mentioned the software and so what's the kind of the framework versus you kind of figuring this out on your own.
Yeah, so I'll start with just the software. You know, everything from our website to being able to for parents to register for classes, you know, all of that stuff. That software is built. They provide that to you, so you don't have to worry about any of that. But then we have, you know, CRM management software that's provided, um, email software. You know, so basically everything you need from a day-to-day basis to do the job, run your area is provided. But beyond that, what the big benefit that you get is there's a full marketing department working,
Mm.
you know, tirelessly to help us. So I'd say, you know, 90% of what I throw up on Facebook or LinkedIn, as far as graphics, I didn't make them. You know, they're provided for us. You know, we even get templates on what we should or how we should word it. Obviously, you can change it, you can do whatever you want, but templates to help with that. Um, you know, that we put videos up, we put different still pictures up, all that type of thing. All that stuff is developed by Aaron's marketing team,
Mhm.
provided for us. We do calls. We just had one yesterday where everybody was on a call, so we can talk the good, the bad, you know, all that stuff, and kind of bounce ideas off of each other. Um, but beyond that, they're just available whenever you need them. You know, like I've talked about Aaron being there, but everybody else on his team as well. I had a event that I was doing here and trying to put together some flyers and put together some poster boards. And there's a girl named Carly that works for him, and I called Carly at
Oh, yeah.
what
We know
she
Carly.
so it was an hour. You know, she's an hour earlier than me or 2 hours earlier than me, and I texted her and I said, I know it's early there, you know, but can you call me when you get in? 2 minutes later, my phone's ringing, and she's like, "What do you need? You know, what can I help with?" So just the fact that you feel like you're a part of their full team, but you're
Mhm.
out here running your own area and doing your own thing. And, you know, I'm, well, not anymore. I was going to say for a little while, I was the furthest one away. Um, but I never felt like I was on an island by myself. You
Mm.
know, any time of the day I need anything, they're there. I can always sign on and you know, message them through the apps and whatnot and get a hold of anybody I need. So, um,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the best way to word it, but I would just say if you think you're going to need it, Aaron's provided it, or he will provide it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and actually, you being on this show is part of their marketing, branding, getting the word out efforts. He was one of my early believers, champions, and encouragers, sponsors of the Daily Parks and Rec show when we were just like launching, figuring it out how we were going to tell the story of Parks and Recreation and what were the stories worth telling. And when I discovered his story about youth sports and how it's all about teaching those lessons, those life lessons to people that will never get, or children that will never get an athletic scholarship, but will take those lessons into their adult life. I was like, okay, let's do something on youth sports. Yeah. And then we came up with that Thursday youth sports mastery, and he's just been with me the whole time. So really is a great guy. I can't say enough about Aaron, and then his company reflects his values. And then you're a reflection of him, because they don't just let anybody sign up for their franchise, because you might damage the brand. So congratulations.
That was one of the other things that sold me on it. Going back to our beginning of conversation, is they're not just taking anybody.
Yeah.
And I love that, because he could have, I think we're at 10 or 11 now. He could be at 100, 150 if he wanted, but he wants the right people, because this is his brand and his baby. And, he wants the right people representing it.
Yeah. And that's always, it's better to be picky and take a little bit longer than to rush in, and then you just have to rebuild from scratch anyway. So you've got your first couple of partnerships. How many partnerships are you up to now?
I've got 8 as of right now. And I have the ability in my area. So I live in a very diverse community, but Oakland County is my territory. So Oakland County, Michigan is don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure it's the largest county in America to have over 1 million people, but not have one city with over 100,000 people living in it.
Oh,
so we're very spread out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I could, just in my territory, I could have the potential of having 30 to 35 partners, but I really want to concentrate on the ones that I've, signed contracts with and made partnerships with, to make sure that those get built up and are doing really well before we expand a lot further, and kind of spread too thin. So yeah, we're really concentrating on those 8, and we're getting there. We're a lot further along than I thought we would be at this point, but we're not to where I want to be yet.
Yeah. And so for a park and rec director, and is that the person you speak with, or is it athletic director, or who do you typically is your good contact point?
So it's either going to be a recreation coordinator or a recreation supervisor is what they're calling them out here.
Okay. So let's say you're a recreation supervisor listening to the show today, and you've got a gym and maybe an underserved area that, they kind of run basketball, but not nearly as good as the other ones. Then you can say, well, why don't you give us this little area of just the one sport of basketball, and then let us prove ourselves and show you what we can do. And then we can look at maybe pickleball, football, flag football, see some of the other services once we get a relationship going. Is that kind of how you ease into this?
Yes. And that's probably the best way to do it. And that's kind of what I did when I went back, or going back to when I talked about my first programs didn't go as planned, because they were running a lot. And I said, okay, well, let's kind of squeeze in and find these sports. But yeah, it's better pick 1 or 2 and see how they go, and build from there. So I do have one partner who we did that with basketball and volleyball, and they went really well. And now we're running flag football and soccer and lacrosse. So, you'll quickly be able to add programs for the upcoming seasons. But if that's, as far as the recreation supervisors out there, if that's all you got, or all you want to try, let's try it, and then we'll fill in the gaps later.
Yeah, that's it. I think that it's kind of like, don't get married when you first meet, maybe just go on a couple dates.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Absolutely.
Right. This isn't a mail order bride here. This is kind of that could be a disaster. And so how many kids do you put through your programs right now? Or do you have those numbers?
Yes. So at 1 year, I was at just under 350 kids that had gone through. And now that I've added summer camp to that, Well, it'll be actually how many kids have gone through after the end of summer because of this, the way my spreadsheet's built, but we're going to be at about 980
Oh,
total,
wow.
including
Okay.
those first 350.
So what do y'all do for summer camp? And this is coming from a person, I've never been to a summer camp. I always had sports summer camps and stuff, but I never went to a Parks and Rec summer camp when I was a child. Can you maybe explain that a little bit and what y'all do for that?
Yes, definitely. So we like to offer two different registration points for the camp. So we'll do a half day and a full day. Half day for us is 9 a.m. to noon. Full day is 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Same camp, but just some kids leave early.
Mhm.
Um, we'll do sports from 9 a.m. to noon. We'll do lunch / free play for an hour. So if there's a playground at the park, the kids are going to play on the playground, kind of disconnect from sports for a little bit, and then we'll come back and finish the last 2 hours with sports. But it's not just playing sports. We're still trying to teach them things, run some drills and stuff. So we do like stations. So we'll have some skill stations, or we'll have some little competition and game stations, and then we'll get that into playing the actual sport. So if it's soccer, we'll play a game of soccer with the kids, or multiple games. Hopefully, we have enough kids that we're running like 3 or 4 games at once. But it's just a good mixture of learning but playing also, because it is 6 hours of being outside in the heat. And it's weird here in Michigan. We were 90 degrees yesterday. It's like 72 degrees today.
Yeah.
So the kids all showed up this morning and they're like, I'm cold. And we're like, yesterday, all you could talk about was how hot you were, but either way, it's still a long time to be
Yeah.
outside. But it's also just the benefit of being active, playing, having fun. So we're not, it goes back to our philosophy. We're not trying to create the next superstar. We're just trying to give them an outlet to play, an
Right.
outlet to have fun. So like right now we're running an all sports camp. So we've done, let's see, Monday we did soccer and kickball. So it was kind of all foot related. The next day we did football and dodgeball. And then we went into wiffle ball, brought back soccer just because it was so popular with the kids. They wanted to play it some more. Today they're out there doing volleyball. And I think we're going to go back to flag football again because of the request of the kids. So we've got our plan of what we're going to do, but if the kids really want to do something else, we're going to do something else. And then tomorrow for the last day, we're going to ask them in the morning, what did you like the best? And if they say we like soccer and football, then we'll go back to our plan of what a day of soccer and football looks like. If they're want something else, we'll do something else. But yeah, it's really making sure that the kids get to play what they want to play, but also get to experience everything that we had planned. Because some of those sports, like a kickball, they may not play that other than in gym class, and they might go out there, play it, and say, "God, that was a lot of fun. I want to find an outlet to play some more." So we just want to give them the ability to experience it and have a place to play it. And then it's kind of like any summer camp. It's meeting new friends, playing with new kids. So I've actually got my 3 kids in that camp this week, and there's 2 sisters that have become really good friends with my daughter, to the point where my daughter can't wait to go back and see them. Their mom told me the same thing. They couldn't wait to see Olivia. And then this morning, the mom's like, "Well, what camp is Olivia going to be in next week?" She's like, "I don't care where the city is. I'll drive my daughters there. They want to see her." So
Yeah.
it's making memories that hopefully will last a long time, meeting new kids, interacting with new kids, the social, emotional side of things, along with the sports skills side of things.
Yeah. Now, what's your age range that y'all work with currently? And then what's the youngest y'all work with and what's the oldest y'all work with?
So we'll typically go about 4 to 12 or 13, but not all in one camp. So we have what we call junior academy, and our junior academy will be 4 to 6 years old. And then our youth will be 7 to 12, or for tennis and pickleball. And with one of my partners, I stretched that to 13 just because, you need a little bit more of those motor skills to play those, and we can get the older kids in. Plus, especially with like pickleball, you can put an 8-year-old playing against a 12-year-old, where you can't really do that in flag football or something like that. But yeah, we'll always separate them. So like right now with that all sports camp we have going on, we have junior academy camp and a youth camp, same park, same place. They check in the same area. They'll eat lunch in the same area, but when they're playing, they're separated so that the 4 to 6 year olds are playing together and then the older kids are playing together.
Yeah.
And we'll typically do junior academy for all sports, soccer, and well, I will do it for all sports, soccer, and basketball.
Yeah. And so how do you get because when you left California, it was just you, or did you have some other coaches in mind that you were going to work with, or how did you get the coaches that you have now? And how many did you start with? How many are you up to now?
It was just me. My wife was all on board. She would help, but she works full time. So I knew that
Mhm.
was just kind of a backup.
Right.
I've got a couple nephews who are in high school, so they've helped me out. But the big thing was putting it out there on Indeed, LinkedIn. Handshake is a great one that it's
Mhm.
affiliated. So the college that I went to is actually called Oakland University. It's in Oakland County. So I'm marketing to, kids from that school. And I've gotten some really, really good people. Um, I have a current college volleyball player that was coaching volleyball for me. I've got a guy out at summer camp today who plays college soccer. So, they know their stuff when it comes to those sports and they're able
Mhm.
to really teach it. So I started out with 4 right off the bat. Um, 3 of them didn't last.
Yeah.
So I made it through the winter pretty much myself and one of my coaches, Sophia, and we worked everything together. And it was fine. It went really well, and it worked because I didn't have any programs overlapping, so we were able to do it. And now for summer camp, I've got 13 that I can pull from and you know move them around to different camps depending on what sport it is and what their
Yeah.
specialties are. But
Now,
really, those college students, teachers, those are the best ones to go for.
yeah. So college athletes, obviously, if you have a little soccer group of kids, get a college soccer player. It's, I guess,
Yes.
better than him waiting tables is to come teach the sport he's got a scholarship for. Same thing with volleyball. It seems to make sense. Is that kind of your target market that you look for?
Oh yeah, definitely. But not only that, one of my top coaches, he's college student, but he doesn't play anything. He played
Mm.
in high school. He was a big soccer player. He played, well, he was a kicker for football. So I don't know if we call
Mm.
that playing. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
He played football, but he's just an all around athlete. So it doesn't have to be the current athletes themselves, but just people who are passionate about sports, outgoing, charismatic, going to be very compassionate with the kids, especially when you get to these 4 and 6 year olds. You don't know, one day they're going to show up, or shouldn't even say one day, 1 hour of the day, they're going to be all gung ho running around, wanting to do everything. And
Mhm.
then they might break down and say, I want my mom, I want my dad. And you got to be able to sit down next to them and pump them up and get them back out on the field. So
Right.
it's people who have a pretty good sports background, but also people who are just know what they're getting into and want to work with kids and want to kind of help that next generation have fall in love with sports as
Yeah.
well.
Now, how about the summer camp? How is that a lot different as far as staffing? And obviously, you take a break from the regular, I guess, league sports or whatever that you're building throughout the year. So you kind of shift gears into summer camp. And then who are you working with as far as same group of college kids or what?
uh, they are college kids, but a lot of my coaches for summer camp, they're going back to college, so they won't work for
Mm.
me in the fall or winter. And hopefully there's a good amount of them who can want to come back next year because they've done a fantastic job so far.
Mhm.
But it's every day, 5 days a week, either that 3 or 6 hour time frame, or hopefully both, because we've filled both sides of the camp.
Mm.
Compared to in the fall and the winter and the spring, we're running a program typically 1 day a week for an hour. I do like
Mm.
to stack them, so we'll do. So like when I want community, for example, we'll do junior academy basketball for an hour, youth basketball right after it, little break in between, obviously, and then volleyball right after that. So I can have a coach get at least 3.5 hours 1 day a week.
Right.
Um, but yeah, it's more of a you know commitment to work summer camps for these kids than it is
Yeah.
the 1 day a week or the after school programs.
All right. So as we're kind of coming to the end of the show, I wanted to kind of maybe pull back the curtain. What does the day in the life or a week in the life of Brad look like? How do you kind of schedule yourself? I know you're pretty much your own boss, so you've got to see, this is what I'm going to dedicate to marketing, new phone calls, relationships, working with coaches, showing up on site. Like, what does your week look like?
Um, Summer is completely different than the rest of the year, but
Yeah.
the typical day is, after I drop my kids at school, I get back and just what's new, what came through, is there anything that I need to put to the top of the list? And then, Mondays are, prepping everything for what's coming through the week or potentially what's going to be coming that next weekend. Tuesdays is a marketing day. So what can I get out there on Facebook? What type of emails do I need to set up to send out? Um, Wednesday is a day where I like to get out in the field and go talk to my community partner, go see what's going on, because that's a big part of it. Don't just call your community partner when you need something. Check in with them, go see them, go talk to them. So I do that typically on a Wednesday, and sometimes that'll stretch into Thursdays. Thursdays are either program emails, or for summer camp, it's camp emails. So we're sending out our pre-camp email or our pre-program email to all the parents, letting them know what to expect, where to check in, who to look for. And then Fridays is, did I get everything done? Is everything ready for the weekend? Is everything good to go? And then can I breathe now?
Yeah.
Can I take a second to relax?
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the one thing when I said summer is different than the rest of the year, for summer, I've spent, because it is my first summer camp schedule or first summer of camps, I've spent a lot more time pretty much every day going to camp, checking in, being out there, seeing what's going on. Because up until camp, like I mentioned earlier, I had worked every single program that I've done. This was the first programs that I was going to take take myself away from and not be there for the full time. And I am a very hands-on person. I want to be, I won't say I'm controlling, but I want to kind of be in control of what's going on. So it was kind of nerve-wracking at the beginning of the summer. So I like to just go out, pop in, see what's going on, say hi. But at the same point, I think that the coaches really like that too, because they get to see me, they get to know I'm out here supporting them, whatever you need, because, it's a job for them, but, they need to see me. They need to know that I'm out here and I'm not just, throwing them out there to the wolves to do it by themselves.
Yeah. So if there were other Brads out there kind of listening to your story, what would you say are, some good fits, as far as, if you have this desire, if you have this skill set, if you like doing this, then you may want to take a look at this, might be a good fit for you?
Number one, you got to love kids.
Yeah. If you hate kids, it might not be for you.
Yeah. If you don't like kids, yeah. But, and I would say you got to love sports. Do you have to be, diehard, I played everything type of sport? No, not at all. We, like I mentioned earlier, we tried to run a cheer and dance program. I know you can only see like this far up on me, but this is not a cheer and dance guy, So, but you gotta have a passion for sports. You gotta have a passion for wanting to work with kids, and beyond that, a good business sense, good motivation to, you are your own boss. You have the ability to sleep in and, say, I'll do it later, I'll do it tomorrow. But you got to have that ambition to really push yourself and want to get it done, want to move forward, because we're working on timelines. You miss a deadline to put a program out, and it doesn't get in the guidebook, you just lost out on a program that is not happening for 3 months. So now you're 6 months behind. It's not something you can catch up and fix tomorrow.
Yeah.
So well organized type of person, and good with schedules and that type of thing.
And then what would you say specifically about working with Aaron Locke's National Academy Athletics, that in addition to all those things you just said, if you're going to be part of this team, they demand this?
Pretty much a couple of the things I said, passionate about sports, passionate about kids, outgoing, ready to get out, and talk to people, but also somebody who's not afraid to get out of their comfort zone. I will tell you, a year ago, I don't know that I could have been what is it, 58 minutes into this podcast and still talking and without
Yeah.
being super nervous. So and that's part of Aaron. He's really pushed me out of my comfort zone, and I love it. So just somebody who's willing to learn, willing to absorb the information and turn around and use it, because they've set up an excellent roadmap to be able to be successful. I mean, there's a reason Aaron is where he is. There's a reason that he's, had so many kids go through his program. So why not follow his roadmap, right? But, somebody that's willing to take that information, absorb it, and then you're going to have to modify it a little bit for your area. Michigan and California are not the same place. There's things that work out there that don't work here. When the wintertime, we couldn't have 1.5 feet of snow on the ground while he's running programs outside. So you're going to have to modify it for your area. But yeah, definitely somebody who's outgoing, compassionate, passionate about working with kids in sports would be the number 1 and 2 and 3.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, you did a fantastic job. If you were nervous, I didn't sense it at all.
Thank you.
Knocked it out the park. I guess that's what happens when you're just speaking about what you're passionate about. It just kind of flows from you. So really appreciate you taking the time to just, pull the curtain back. Aside from Aaron, we hear him every Thursday, but it's good to hear from one of the guys that's, taken on his program, bought into his franchise model, and is just enjoying working with kids and working within this community. So appreciate you, man.
Oh, I appreciate you having me on. It was a lot of fun. And I thought I was going to be nervous, but as you get rolling and, it just turns into a good conversation with, a great person in yourself. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. And, hopefully there's some people out there that see it and say, gosh, I should look into National Academy of Athletics because, I'm like I mentioned, a little over a year into it, and I could not be happier with my decision. I wake up excited every morning to get to work, to go do stuff. And my almost 19-year career before that, I can't say I woke up every day excited, but I am now. And it's definitely a lot of fun and very, very rewarding work.
Yeah. And if you're in Oakland County and you're in a Parks and Rec department and you have a little struggling basketball or baseball program, or maybe want to do volleyball, then how can they find you, Brad?
OaklandCountyYouthSports.com is my website. And it's got all my contact information on there. So yeah, reach out. You call me today, I'll come see you tomorrow. So yeah, reach out and we'll have a conversation and figure out how we can serve the community.
Here, I'll put do you mind putting your contact number there?
Yeah, I can do that. Do it.
Go ahead and say it. I'm ready to type.
947 276
276
2183.
2183. Let me see. Is that right?
Yes.
There you go. So for more information about getting Brad to take over something in your in the Oakland County area, or maybe just add a sport that you don't really have the bandwidth to do. If you've got an idle group of tennis courts, maybe he can run pickleball court stuff for you.
Absolutely.
But
pickleball's exploding with kids and they're having a blast. So definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a really good guy, Matt Hanlon. He's actually runs these massive tennis centers, and he has a company called Impact Activities. And he said he loves the age range and the athleticism range that you can play pickleball from like 4 years old to 90 years old, and be all different levels of athleticism. And you can even intermingle, co-ed, different age groups that you couldn't do this in a lot of other sports. I think that's why it's really taken off.
I don't think you could do it in any other sport. And we've had weekend games where it's my 4-year-old all the way up to myself, wife, everybody included, playing out there, and they all have a blast. Yeah,
it really is a great little sport. But all right, Brad, well, I appreciate you coming on the show today, and good luck, and definitely keep us posted with your progress and let us know what we can do to help out.
Definitely. Absolutely. Well, thank you very much. It was a lot of fun. I always enjoy talking to you, Craig, but yeah, it was a lot of fun to do it on the podcast, and I appreciate you having me on.
Fantastic, man. Have a good weekend.
You as well. Thank you.
Yeah. Take care. Bye. All right. So that was one of the greats. Brad works with Aaron Locks at the National Academy of Athletics. Great franchise opportunity for what Aaron does. And And I'm glad we got to get one of his guys on stage, because Aaron does run the U Sports Mastery Thursday show, but a lot of times, and I encourage him to talk more about the work you're doing. It's so important. And, there's really across America, I don't think there's a Parks and Rec department that doesn't have some sport that they're just not, they don't have the bandwidth to do. Like, let's just take volleyball. Or pickleball. Maybe they're running, generationally deep basketball and football and baseball, but they've just don't have some certain sport. And I think that might be a good fit for somebody like Aaron, or one of his franchise owners, or one of his corporate companies, corporate groups, to come in and just start a good volleyball program, or maybe help you with your summer camps, or maybe do some type of skills training or something. And that way you can kind of partner with and say, well, look, we've got basketball. This town's all about basketball, and that's fine. But baseball, on the other hand, or volleyball, yeah, we struggle a little. So let's partner with someone like Aaron, so that we've got these maybe girls that want to play volleyball. Now they have a structured program. You don't have to worry about the programming. You don't have to worry about the coaching. You can call other directors that are already using Aaron just to get a testimony. And I think it's a great, great model. Not to mention, Aaron has been doing youth sports coaching for 40 years, 4 decades, and has some of the greatest culture that I've ever seen in youth sports. And what I love, and this is why I partnered with Aaron, even though I got a full athletic scholarship, I knew a lot of the young athletes that I was with in high school were only going to get, say, academic scholarships. But they were still fellow teammates that we competed with, that were my close friends, and that we learned life lessons that we took with us well into our adult life. And it wasn't all about centered on winning the championship as much as it was about building a person, building skills, building a team, socializing with your teammates, and win or lose, those things are happening. And so I think when I understood that is what that's the side of youth sports that Aaron has been focused on, I'm like, okay, I'm in. Let's see how we can work together. And when I pitched the idea of let's build a media company for the Parks and Recreation community, I definitely was glad to partner with him as part of our youth sports offering, the program that we have every Thursday, coming up in just 22 minutes. So I'll go ahead and stop yapping and go ahead and close this out, and then get ready for our next show. So stay tuned, go get another cup of coffee, water, whatever it is that you're drinking, and come right back in 22 minutes so that we can listen to Aaron Locks and his special guests. I'll see y'all in a minute. Bye. Welcome to DPRS Media Co., the first media company built for the people behind the Parks and Rec community. We don't just cover on Parks and Rec, we elevate it, we amplify it, we honor it. At the heart of everything we do is one mission: to serve the public servants, the professionals who design, maintain, and lead the parks that shape our communities. Under the daily Parks and Rec show, we produce 6 powerful platforms. Leadership in Parks and Rec, a spotlight on directors, superintendents, and visionaries shaping the future of public spaces. Facility maintenance, where the boots hit the ground, a deep dive into the systems, crews, and craftsmanship that keep our parks clean, safe, and beautiful. Young Professionals Network, shining a light on the next generation of Parks and Rec. Students, interns, and mentors sharing how we build a legacy together. Youth Sports Mastery, sponsored by National Academy of Athletics. This series is for coaches, parents, and rec leaders working to make youth sports fun, fair, and meaningful again. The Rec Room, hosted by the passionate leaders of Henry County Parks and Rec. This show brings frontline energy and real-life stories from the field. And the weekly Parks and Rec Post, our official newsletter delivering stories, insights, and community wins every week. We are DPRS Media Co., LLC, a media company with a mission to uplift the professionals who serve every community, every park, every day.